We've had a couple of stories which will just break your heart, but one of them I think was the most poignant. It was actually a young woman, maybe 23 years old. They found her tucked under and halfway up into the dash.
She was in fetal position. Her legs were wrapped around the front seat, her head and shoulders right underneath the dashboard of the vehicle.
There was a big dude sitting over top of her. She was in a black leotard to hide her there. The officer at the port smelled a rat.
Every officer has a bell. You know, when something's not right, that bell is gonna ring and say something's wrong with this couple or whatever.
They were avoiding eye contact. The driver was shaking, her hands were shaking.
I requested the passenger to step out of the vehicle. And as soon as I turned my side to the vehicle, that's when I noticed there was a body there.
Here was this young woman literally tucked halfway up into the dashboard. Well, it turns out she came across when she was only 8 years old. She'd lived in America for 15 years. She was in her early 20s. She was married to a U.S. citizen. She had a little boy.
Well, it looks like she'd been living in the United States all her life. She was crossing illegally. And then from there on, she pretty much adapted to the life in the United States.
And on the advice, bad advice, I suppose, of an immigration lawyer, he said, look, you're married to an American. Go back into Tijuana, get your visa, you'll be back in a few days. Well, she went to get her visa. They said, you can't apply for this for 3 years.
My lawyer told me they're only gonna keep you 5 days. They're not gonna give me a big punishment because I was here since I was 8.
She thought she could just go in there, get that visa, and then just come right back. And that's not what happened.
So she's stuck in Tijuana, a town she doesn't know at all. She's terrified, and now she has to work with the worst of the worst human smugglers to get back in. When we found her, it was her second attempt to get back in. And she was in tears. She was just wanting to get home. She wanted to see her son and her husband. And I don't know what's happened to her. I don't know if she ever got back in. Because every time you make an attempt and you fail, immigration will put 3 or 5 more years before you can even apply again.
Because she had attempted entry without any documents, she was denied that visa.
So what kind of visa were you going to get?
When you stay without paper, they give you a punishment. And my punishment was 3 years.
But she's a woman who doesn't know Tijuana, is trapped now in Mexico. I don't know what's going to happen to her, but this just shows you how tough it is. It's not a black and white situation. Everything, there's shades of gray.